This is Will's Band of the Week for July 31st, 2016. Hello and welcome to another edition of Will's Band of the Week. This is Will, along with Barrett, live in studio.
Hey, everybody.
He's not really live, though, if you're listening to a recording of the podcast, right?
No,
but live means
true.
that you're actually here. So we're going to call that live in studio, even though it really means physically present in studio.
Yeah, there's a number of ways we could do it. One, live, obviously we can't really do that, but I could have recorded all my stuff, and then you could like splice in your commentary. And that would be not live at all. And this is...
Yeah, recorded live. Like, if a band goes into the studio and records live, like, we don't overdub our parts.
Right.
Right. It's all just completely natural.
Right. If we had an audience, we could say, Will's Band of the Week is recorded live before a studio audience. Like they used to do on sitcoms.
Usually our studio audience is the dog, right?
Mm-hmm. Just one dog.
Yeah, he's not here this time, though, so there's really no studio audience. So, let's see, what do we have? There was something interesting I was going to tell the listeners. What might that have been? Oh, this is it. I think I mentioned before, like one or two podcasts ago, that we are on YouTube now. Like, for anybody who would have any reason to want to listen to the podcast on YouTube, you can do it.
Right.
And
would you? I'm going to take a look and see how many people have done that.
Okay, probably like 4 or something. If you hear background noise, it's not noise. I wouldn't call Grant's music noise. He's prepping his solo live act, so you might be able to hear that a little bit in the background. People will be archiving this in years to come. It's like when Michael Stipe did his live performance at age 19, right?
Right. Yeah, what if, like, I don't know, like David Gilmour's dad had a podcast, and then he was in the basement, like, making songs, and then somebody discovered that. Like, oh, wow, listen to that.
Yeah, that later became the riff for Comfortably Numb, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, while you're checking the YouTube data, I also got an email that said that we've been added to the iHeartRadio list of podcasts. I think it was iHeartRadio. Isn't that like a super corporate thing? I don't know. They must do a podcast listing thing or something. So that probably means we're going to start raking in cash pretty soon.
Probably, yeah.
Right? We'll take it to the corporate people, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, did you find any data yet?
Hold on. Here we go. Will's Band of the Week. Might be easier on your... I'm doing it on a phone.
Yeah, let's try doing it on the desktop here.
All right. We did one... Well, they all went up a week ago, basically.
The last one was the Deerhoof one, right?
That has 6.
All right.
So, I hope that doesn't mean that everybody is listening to it on YouTube, because that would be...
Then we'd only have 6 listeners.
Bad, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But
yeah, and the Case Lang Veers one has 4.
I think most people... Yeah, okay, if we're going to, look at Grant's Underground, that has 9.
Yep.
So, but I think most people just subscribe on iTunes.
It's the easiest way. Or any podcast app will work. Like, I use one called Downcast, which is a good one. There are a whole bunch of them. There was one called Dogcatcher that I used for a while.
Mm-hmm. Stitcher.
There's Stitcher. We're supposed to mention Stitcher, aren't we? But a condition of being on Stitcher was we were supposed to mention Stitcher. So there you go. We're mentioning it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, yep, you can find it all over the place. All right, so here's the thing. You ever have that experience where you're like in a store or something? Like we were up north in Door County, which to non-Wisconsinites, it's the northeast corner of the state of Wisconsin. It's kind of surrounded by water, and it has a bunch of small towns that become these touristy towns in the summer. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a peninsula.
Yeah.
You think of Wisconsin like a hand, it's the thumb.
Right. And so I was in a little, some shop there, and I heard a song that I hadn't heard in like 20 years. And I was thinking, this is kind of fun hearing this song. And so I was thinking about how, like, sometimes you hear a song from the 80s you haven't heard in a long time, and sometimes it's like, boy, that was kind of bad. I'm embarrassed that I liked that, right? And then there are other songs that maybe you heard that you hear, and you're like, hey, that was kind of decent, I think.
Right.
So anyway, this is from 1982, so let's just play it a little bit, and then we'll talk about it. Can you believe that's 34 years ago?
I cannot believe that.
I can only believe it because it's true.
Right. I do believe it.
Yeah.
But
the band is A Flock of Seagulls.
Right.
And I guess they've gotten on some like retro compilations and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they're kind of not really recognized very seriously, like historically.
Well, yeah, I think the biggest barrier to that was that guy's haircut.
Yeah, it was goofy.
Completely silly. And but listening to that right now and realizing that was what was popular. That wasn't like, maybe people listening today would think, oh, that must have been like some kind of crazy outlier on the charts or whatever. No, not really. I mean,
right.
A lot of stuff sounded like that.
Yeah.
And, I think it sounds great.
Yeah. I
didn't like it at the time. I mean, for a radio song, I would have been like, yeah, it's all right. But, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to give that the rating of wears pretty well after 34 years.
Definitely.
Man, we are totally aging rockers.
I'm going to give that 10 thumbs up.
Yeah. Does it get like a 10 on the Pitchfork review? Like all the old things that they're nostalgic about, just give it a 10.
Right.
Like don't even bother with like a 9.6. Just 10. Just plop the 10 on there.
Exactly.
Right. I don't know. What would Pitchfork give the Flock of Seagulls album? Probably like
they'd have to do a lot of thinking about how they're perceived. Right?
Yeah.
If they thought that they were completely written off and that nobody paid much attention or thought they were any good at all, they might err on the side of over praising it. Right.
Right.
To just flex their muscle and be like, we can resurrect their reputation.
Yeah.
But if people thought they were generally pretty cool, then I think Pitchfork could go the other way.
Yeah, good point. Probably. So, maybe when the Flock of Seagulls box set comes out, they'll do a review of it.
Yeah.
They must have had like 2 or 3 albums because the first one was pretty popular, right? So I can't remember them, but so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember any albums. Did we talked about the new ABC album, right? Lexicon of Love 2.
Is there really one?
Oh yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
Why doesn't Flock of Seagulls get together and just hook up with a really good producer that's like, I know how to make that sound again? Because those guys probably aren't going to know how to do it.
So that guy...
Going on right now at Guitar Center. We're extending our friends and family discount to you. Save up to 20% off.
I'm not supposed to be talking over our sponsors' messages.
You know why? I had the Will's Band email is not a like a paid account, so it's free, so it throws ads at you on occasion. So we just had a Guitar Center ad.
Wow.
Well,
I think we have to say that if you're going to buy a guitar, try to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
If you can.
Absolutely. Yeah. And don't buy new, because there's enough really cool used guitars and basses just like circulating out there. So that's my strong recommendation.
All right.
So
you're gonna have to send that check back to Guitar Center.
Yeah, we might have to. I don't know. We might have to have like negotiations with their people. We'll have our people talk to their people.
Do you think they're going to make one of their ad reps actually listen to the podcast?
Should I I'll put Guitar Center on the tag for the podcast, so when people will find it when they search for Guitar Center, right?
Mm-hmm.
That could make us huge, maybe.
Metadata.
Right. Let's try that. See what happens. Probably make us huge.
So before that ad interrupted our train of thought, I think we were still talking about a Flock of Seagulls.
Oh, right. And you know what I was thinking? The singer that had that goofy haircut. Can you imagine if now, he's like, let's see, it's 34 years later. He's probably in his mid to late 50s. It'd be pretty bad if he still had that haircut, right?
Well, yeah, in a way, but I mean, for marketing purposes,
he's probably bald, right? And like 30 pounds overweight, like a typical aging rocker.
Yeah, maybe. But I think if anybody's allowed to have a hairstyle like that in 2016, and I'm not saying they are, but if anybody would be, it'd be the originator.
Sure. Yeah. You should have like a trademark on that haircut, and that, like, if anybody else has it, they have to pay him.
Right.
Right.
Like you've in the intervening 34 years, how many times have you looked at somebody with maybe blonde hair and like a really goofy haircut? You're like, Flock of Seagulls, right?
Yeah.
Several times. I know I have.
It can happen. Yep. All right. Yeah, you know what's funny, too? Like, that whole new wave movement of, like, the early 80s, there definitely was, like, a fashion component to it, wasn't there?
For sure.
And I was totally not into the fashion part of it, but it was definitely commingled with a whole genre of music, kind of.
Right.
There are a lot of those guys. Well, like you mentioned, ABC, they probably had kind of haircuts like that, and there was like Duran Duran and all these.
Right.
They were almost like, when you think in retrospect, Duran Duran was like sort of like a boy band, right? I mean, even a Flock of Seagulls were kind of like, if you want to look at like fashion wise, there's like a correlation there, right?
I guess. I mean, Duran Duran for sure.
Yeah. You know what was the worst band of that type? Like the worst band I can think of that era? Remember there was a band called Kaja Gugu?
Oh, yeah. Too Shy.
Right, Too Shy.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That was so bad.
That was bad.
I mean, it's bad enough. Like, that song was terrible, and then they actually called their band Kaja Gugu.
Yeah. We should do a whole podcast of, like, early 80s pop songs.
The new wave movement.
Mm-hmm. You know what happened a lot to me is I would really like a band that, part of the charm for me was that nobody knew who they were, except for me and like my friends.
Right. Oh, yeah, of course.
And then they'd have a big song on the radio, and it's like, God damn it. That happened over and over again.
Yeah. I remember when U2 was new and cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like first or second album. I remember I saw somebody wearing a U2 button, and I thought, that is just terrible. That person clearly, they only have that button because they're trying to be cool. They can't possibly like the band, right?
Like hard for modern listeners to understand.
I was kind of
that they were cool at one time.
I was betrayed Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they were. They were so cool for a very, very short period of time in the scheme of things. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like I loved Madness, and then they did Our House, and then everybody knew what Madness was.
Oh yeah, right.
And I loved Wall of Voodoo, and then all of a sudden Mexican Radio was out there, and everybody knows what that is.
Yep.
Adam and the Ants, and then he went solo, and Goody Two Shoes was all over the radio. It's like nothing was.
Yeah.
I don't know. So
all your cool things, you just never get to hold on to them.
The Psychedelic Furs.
Yeah. Love My Way comes out. Suddenly, you're not cool anymore. Yep. All right.
Then you just have to find something different to like.
Yeah, right. We usually can do that. So we still do, right?
Mm-hmm.
We find the cool aging rockers now.
Well, so we're going to talk about an example today, right?
We've got all kinds of stuff this week. So we enlisted, unbeknownst to him, our listener David Zuger for some suggestions for today. Because we kind of, well, for me, it's been a combination of, like, there hasn't been a, like, gotta grab that new release kind of things. There haven't been any, like, obvious things that we have to listen to. And I've been sort of vacationing out of town and all this stuff where I just haven't really, like, caught up. So I've got one new thing. And then we're gonna sample some of David's stuff. And I think that'll be fun.
Yeah, that's a new, right? A new thing. We've never done that.
Right,
first.
and it's great because we asked the listeners, and we got David sent a couple, and then another listener, Roger Allen, sent us some Chilean shoegaze recommendations. So we might sample some Chilean shoegaze next week.
Mm-hmm.
I think that sounds very interesting. So, okay, so the thing that I've listened to a reasonable amount this week is an album by a guy named Wymond Miles. He is a guitar player for the band The Fresh and Onlys from San Francisco, I believe, that I've talked about a couple times and liked. So I listened to his album. It's called Call by Night. And I don't think it's his first. I think he's got a couple other things I was reading about. But this is the only one I've listened to. But it's kind of cool. So we're going to play some of it. And we'll start with track 2, Protection.
Where is protection? Where is such grace? They look for it now in the strangest place. The truth has come out, no more lies live discreet. No shame, no triumph, just defeat. Still we don't wanna be watched and chained. We just wanna live our day to day. Confusion cracks the blade of who's to blame. You point the gun at us as if we were the same. They are afraid of us unchained. Our sense of right collides like runaway trains. Just want to know our place in all things. We've gotta find protection in some other way. Da, 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 da. They say it's protection from our enemies, but they occupy the silence of our...
Wyman Miles.
Yeah, interesting.
It's got a kind of a rich sounding recording.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I remember the same, this is kind of going to be a nerdy thing to say, but like the bass sounds like the Fresh and Onlys. It's got this really clean but prominent sound. I think it sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't have any Fresh and Onlys. I think the only time I heard it was maybe when you played samples.
They had or have a singer that reminded me a little bit of Ian McCulloch from Echo and the Bunnymen. They have a little bit of a Echo and the Bunnymen feel to them. So there's a little bit, it's like a psychedelic pop kind of thing, maybe. Let's play another song by Wymond Miles. This one's called Solomon's Song.
Before your altar, my own very Father, and your questioning eyes. I know you've come here to try me, my judge and my jury, but I serve only God's law. You see, there ain't no mountains on there is no river so long. There ain't no bridge we can't cross, for the soul isn't lost in sorrow and sorrow. But please do this for me. When my kids come asking round for me, tell them my spirit was set free, lost only to be found. You see, there ain't no mountains so
I heard a little bit of Robert Forster in his voice, too.
Oh, yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Yep. Wymond Miles. So the album's called Call by Night. And apparently it's indie rock, because that's what the genre description says.
Yeah. What else are you going to call it, I guess? It's meaningless words, just
right.
two words stuck together.
Yep. So, all right, here's another one. We'll play one more track. It's called Devil's Blue Eyes.
Let us stop our pretending, our blaming and lie. Asleep here together, our limbs intertwined, because you said it all with those blue eyes. You seem to know of wise things, Marxist prose and comic law, Akashic records and fine-grained alcohol, but you said it all with those blue eyes. Your 30 years of glory without an ounce of shame, but you know who put in such blame. You walk like a giant, but your footprint is small. Abstention, circumvention, resisting us all with the grace of the devil's black swan. I feel lapse for your guidance, so featherlight and free. Your swagger cut like daggers, brought on canes apostasy with the grace of the devil's black swan. There's musing scrape into my dreams, what's tied up and sewn at the seams. La da da, sick to death of you.
All right. Got any reference points for that one?
No. I want to don't know if you noticed. Is your neighbor stealing some of your gas over there?
Yeah, he's siphoning the gasoline. Yep.
Okay. I just saw him walk into your garage and...
yeah, we should probably call the cops right now. Well, in the true neighborly fashion, we actually half own a lawnmower with our next door neighbor.
Oh, wow.
And although he probably owes me like $2 for some gasoline.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Okay, so chord progression wise or something, that was like there was a little bit of a Radiohead thing going on there.
Okay.
There must be one or more Radiohead songs that this kind of just clicked for me that kind of sounds
yeah, I'd
like.
have to listen to that again, but interesting.
But I think it's a worthy, interesting album to listen to. So check it out, Wymond Miles. So speaking of Radiohead, I was up at one of these small towns up north, and they had a band shell, and we were waiting to get into a restaurant, and I noticed that there was a band playing, and I walked over there, and they were just finishing a Radiohead cover. Like, wow, that's kind of weird. Some random band that you see on, waterfront of a resort town. I guess it's a resort town, right? Sister Bay?
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, they're playing a Radiohead cover, and it was kind of cool. And I'm like, well, maybe this band has some promise. Maybe they'll play something else good, but then they didn't.
No.
So
Doesn't
their high
your band
point was
usually
that.
have a gig in Door County in the summer?
Our band?
Mm-hmm.
Not in the summer, because our guitar player lives in Japan in the summer.
Oh, yeah.
We've done actually fall and spring. We've done I think we've done May and September gigs up there from time to time.
If he's in Japan, why don't you go out there?
Well,
right?
that's actually been discussed.
Yeah, that would be.
We might actually do.
We Are Beatrice live at Budokan.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be We Are Beatrice anymore, though. I mean, it seems like we
were Beatrice.
Yeah, I think we were that for a while, and we're probably not going to be that. I don't know. But we were actually thinking. Now, I don't know if they like the Mikons in Japan, but we've been doing all this Mikon stuff lately, so could do that. I'm not sure, but our guitar player Bill, he plays gigs. He plays a lot of gigs in the summer, and he has like Japanese guys that he plays with, and he'll do like American rock covers and stuff, and seems to have a great time doing it.
Mm-hmm. That sounds fun.
So yeah, conceptually, if we can like put together, and we'll probably get paid handsomely, right? So we won't have to have any travel expenses. But
right.
Barring that, there's some planning that would go into something like that, like to actually try to figure out how to pull it off. But maybe in like a couple years, we're thinking about it. Maybe
that would be fun.
Yeah, he lives near Sapporo, which is like this giant city, right? So you probably could get like, I don't know what connections he has, but you probably could get some gigs that aren't too far apart geographically, right?
Yeah, well,
and probably somebody would probably bring in for me like top of the line bass equipment everywhere we go, right? Just like bring it in for me. All I'd have to do is just kind of walk in.
You don't want to bring it over there. Can you imagine? Ugh.
Yeah, like a bass amp.
Yeah,
no, that's not going to happen. No, but like I said, we'll probably have like super professional people, kind of like we do for the podcast. Right? We could do like podcast on location in Japan too, maybe. I don't know. So many possibilities. What do you do when there are so many possibilities? So here's what we're going to do now for the rest of this podcast. We're going to have a little listening party, right?
Yes.
And if David didn't pick out good music for us, then that could be a problem. But I always tend to like track 2, and you always tend to pick track 7, right? For whatever reason. So I think we should go through some of his recommendations and listen to tracks 2 and 7 and see where we get.
Sure.
What do you think?
Yep. So the reason I picked 7 is because it's often the first song on side 2.
Well, then you have to have 6 songs on side 1, though. Wouldn't it be more common that track 6 would be the first song on side 2? I think there's more 10-track albums than 12-track albums.
I don't know about that.
Of course, you hearken back to the 60s when there were like shorter tracks and more tracks, right? Like those Beach Boys albums, Beatles albums.
Double Nickels on the Dime, right? That's like 46 tracks.
That listeners get their money's worth out of that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. All right. One album that was highly recommended by David is one by a band called Nap Eyes. And We'll do some music journalism while we're listening to this. But the album is called Thought Rock Fish Scale, and track 2 is Stargazer. So let's listen to that.
I'm going to do something, wonder what I'm going to do. Got to be clean and try to control my body, 'cause nobody else going to. I don't think twice when I do something nice, but I don't do things like that very much. 'Cause if you go around try to please everybody, it only becomes your crush. With such determination that it's sick. I'd like to go the places they don't know how to get to, but I can't remember the trick. So I wait around and venomously crown myself serpent, king of my sin.
I like it. Nap
Yeah.
Eyes. So, did you do your music journalism like I was doing?
We're probably looking at the same thing.
So the listeners can, first of all, I love doing this. Grant does this with me. Like, he'll play something and he'll say, guess where this band is from. And it's always kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
It essentially becomes impossible,
Right.
given the nature of music coming from everywhere these days. But Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
That's cool, right?
That is cool. Another interesting fact about them is that they record direct to tape. No overdubs. So
Kind of like we are.
it's tough to pull off.
Sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes when we do the podcast, sometimes I add backing vocals to my voice, and then it
I've
gives
noticed that.
it gives
That's
it like
weird.
such a
you double track it.
yeah. When you hear like that really kind of sweet sound, those harmonics from my
Mhm.
voice when I did some backing vocals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Talking-
and then, of course, when Chris is here, you have
Yeah.
to kind of sweeten his voice up a little bit with,
Yeah, I have to
with
tweak
studio
it.
trickery.
I put like auto tune on Chris's voice
Yeah.
for his talking voice.
Like
yeah.
people would not believe what he actually sounds like.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Yeah. Speaking of, let's harass Chris a little bit more. Let's talk about the fact that he just went to see Radiohead and he's not here to tell us about it.
That's right.
Maybe he's going to hold out and like have an exclusive podcast like 2 months from now to tell us about the Radiohead show.
Was it last night?
I think it was 2 nights ago.
Friday night? Because
We're recording
doing
this on Sunday. Hopefully the same day it comes out.
Did he stay for both days?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. He might still be. He was probably like slept under a bridge last night.
Probably,
and he's
yeah.
just woke up and can't find his wallet or his phone.
Yeah.
So
The only other thing I saw was he had a post where he was critical of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, which of course I would be on board with even more than he was. You know what I mean? Like, I think disparaging the Red Hot Chili Peppers is, I like that, doing that.
they're
I'm-
the worst.
Yeah.
They are. I hate them a whole lot.
Well, they aren't really the style when you think about it, right? We're like the introspective indie rockers, and they're like the brash, bragging, loud. It's kind of, right? That's kind of like not our thing.
Right.
Maybe that's why we don't like them.
Who would you rather see? The Red Hot Chili Peppers, or I'm gonna pick somebody like terrible, Dave Matthews Band.
Okay, so I have to sit through the whole set, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think I'd go with Dave Matthews.
Me too.
But I'm not really
as
sure.
terrible as that would be.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that would sound.
At least you could sleep a little bit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I had a
It's so
Facebook
boring,
a Facebook friend put up a video, and it was just like random live footage, and I thought, boy, this sounds like not very good. Like, I don't think I want to be at this live show, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the curiosity got to me, and I'm like, I got to figure out what that was. It was some kind of Grateful Dead thing, like offshoot thing. You know, it was called like The Dead something or whatever.
Right.
So, and I was thinking, God, I can't imagine like trying to sit through that whole thing.
Right.
That's why all the Grateful Dead people took drugs, because they had to get through the performance, right?
Right.
This is what
I wonder if that guy still listens. I was just talking about that.
Before we started recording, you were remembering that we got an email from a guy who liked the Grateful Dead and doesn't take drugs.
Right. That was 3 years ago. And well, let me see if I can find that.
While you're looking, we'll play track 7 from the Nap Eyes album. It's called Roll It.
Why didn't he roll it? Didn't he have a feeling to go on? Why didn't he roll it? Didn't he have a feeling to go on? Why didn't he roll it? Didn't he listen to our song? Why didn't he roll it? Well, sometimes you just got to accept. And I'm no better for getting sick of getting no break. The feeling is something like disrespect, except it doesn't even know I exist. Why didn't he roll it? Didn't he have a feeling to go on? Why didn't he roll it? Didn't he have a feeling to go on? Why didn't he roll it? Didn't he listen to our song? Why didn't he roll it? Now being a stranger in a strange, strange town, didn't you hope that everyone would come on and crowd around? Didn't you kind of hope they'd come and bow down? And didn't you feel a great guilt before this? And you know there's something wrong here, but you don't know what it is. Could it be me?
That's Nap Eyes. The album is called Thought Rock Fish Scale from Halifax, Nova Scotia. Brought to you by our listener, David.
Yep. And while that was playing, and while I was enjoying it, especially the way that it just sounds, you know, maybe knowing that they just record it directly makes it sound organic, but I always like that.
Yeah.
While I was doing that, though, I looked up, it was Greg from New Hampshire that had that kind of a challenge to me that I never really took seriously enough.
Oh, that's right. You were going to try to listen to
I
some
was going to
Grateful
listen
Dead.
to the Grateful Dead, and you know, I did a tiny bit, but I didn't really give it a fair chance.
Yeah.
So maybe now is the time. I don't mean right now. We want people to keep listening to the podcast. We're not going to play any Grateful Dead.
Right.
But I don't know.
There was
Maybe
that
I'll,
album that came out that was Grateful Dead covers by indie rockers, right? The National. I
don't remember that.
I think those guys from the National were the kind of the organizers behind it, and then a whole bunch of people did Grateful Dead covers. We should probably check that out. I mean, not that it's going to be good, but we still should check it out, because maybe it's actually
though,
good.
with the Grateful Dead, like that the songs are all terrible, but it's just sort of a I don't know. It's like an atmosphere. Like, what are their, for a band that's been around as long as they have? Well, they're not around anymore, but for as long as they were, what are their big songs that everybody knows? Truckin', and Alabama Getaway. Remember that one? Kinda.
But that's just because they played it on the Rockin' Apple. It's the only reason I would know it. Yeah.
And then, like, I know one of their big ones is Ripple. Like, I always hear people say that, but I don't know that song at all. So, Greg in New Hampshire, I'll give it a shot. But as you can see, I don't have my mind is not open. It's maybe slightly ajar. But yeah, I'll listen to it and then I'll crap all over it on the podcast again and maybe hurt your feelings. But I don't know.
So David's next recommendation is a band called Pedal, and we apparently overlooked them in 2015. And
Well,
this one got a little boost in the ratings, though, because Chris said he really likes this album. So, of course, he didn't tell us. He didn't bother to tell us.
right.
Which is totally uncalled for, I think. But, oh well. But now we get to listen to it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the album by Pedal is called Shame, and track 2 is called Tommy. That's Pedal.
From Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. And
Gritty.
it's got a little bit of, a little bit of 90s power pop and a little, I can see a sort of a Eternal Summers maybe comparison.
Yeah.
So,
doesn't it sound a little like, what am I trying to think of? Like Throwing Muses or something.
Throwing Muses wasn't quite as like power chordy, but there could be a little bit of that there. We need to play another track so we get a full. I'm sure that tracks 2 and 7, as with every album, tracks 2 and 7 will give us a complete picture, right?
Yes.
So this one's called The Fire.
I'm tearing at your seams, leaving eyelashes on your pillowcase. I'm pulling up your clothes to find you hidden in every thought of me. And if it were a test that I never see you again, can promise I'd be kind.
That's pedal. And my further music journalism has determined that pedal is basically the project of one person, a woman named Kylie Lotz. And to make this album, she just found another band to be her backing band to make the album. And the other band is called Tiger's Jaw. So that was nice of those Tiger's Jaw people to help her make a full band album, right?
Yeah, I would say that it probably helped them out.
Yeah, maybe it helped them both out. Who knows? Well, anyway, I think that's pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
Tracks 2 and 7 are promising. So check it out, Pedal, and the album is called Shame. Now we're just going to keep on rolling through the David recommendations. We got a couple more. The next one is a band. Actually, it's a woman. Do you remember? Like, this got on a lot of people's lists, I think. Like, I think it's a late 2015 thing. Julian Baker. Do you remember hearing about this?
Nope.
She's got an album called Sprained Ankle. I'm sure I ran across this, and just it's another overlooked 2015 thing. Not overlooked by everybody, but overlooked by us. So here's track 2. It happens to be the title track, Sprained Ankle.
Wish I could write songs about anything other than death. But I can't go to bed without drawing the red, shaving our breaths. Each one so heavy, each one so cumbersome, each one a lead weight hanging between my lungs, spilling my guts, sweat on a microphone, breaking my voice. Whenever I'm alone with you, can't stop. Isn't this weather nice? Are you okay? Should I go somewhere else and hide my face? Sprinter, learning to wait. Marathon runner, my ankles are sprained. Marathon runner, my ankles are sprained.
That wasn't the whole song. So
Most of
we will defend the lawsuit because we didn't play the last few seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Julian Baker. She is apparently from Tennessee, and she's an indie rocker also, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sort of a hypnotic guitar harmonic thing through that whole thing.
Yeah, that was kind of neat. Overall, I'm going to need to hear number 7.
Yeah, we're going to have to.
I'm going to, I'm not going to rush to judgment, right?
Right. Let's do it. Number 7 is called Rejoice.
All of my friends in a plastic bag, walking around, jumping the train track, voice and complain. I never know what to say.
I'm kind of ambivalent about this. Initially, I thought like, I've just heard too much shit like this. I'm tired of that stuff. I don't want to listen to that. And it did start to grow on me a little bit. But she does have this affectation going on where, you know who she sounds a little bit like? Remember that singer in the band, the Northern Irish band, where she sang Bloyd?
Oh, right. That was one of my favorites, actually.
She sounds a bit like that to me.
Yeah.
And when you're from Tennessee, that doesn't make any sense. So right away, I had my arms crossed. Like, this is not getting through. But then I started to think, I think if I listened to it enough that I would probably really like it.
Yeah, it's kind of sad folk, right?
Right.
Like, so you're not sure if you want to immerse yourself in it.
And the vocals are like so, I don't know, I'm not going to come up with the right word, but they're just so like high in the mix and they're just right in your face.
Yeah.
She's like, it's like she's standing right next to you and singing it into your ear.
Right.
In a way that, again, initially made me kind of angry. Just got sick of it. No good reason. Somebody puts all their energy into making some beautiful art, and I'm just like, it's too, whatever. But so I came around a little bit. I think I might end up liking it.
All right, one more from David, and that's Emmy the Great. I remember reading about this one too. This is a 2016 album called Second Love, and we're going to do our music journalism while we're listening to track 2, which is called Less Than 3.
So I guess that I'm the comedian when I say what's the deal with all of these games we play. And I can't stop having these feelings. You've got me saying, oh my God, 'cause you give and then you take away. Every day you make me weak like a heartbeat, but you go too slow. Take it slow like a heartbeat. Take it slow. Take it slow like a heartbeat. Take it slow. I lose control of my heartbeat. Take it slow. Take it slow like a heartbeat. So I guess that you're the comedian, 'cause you keep killing me. What you do is killing me. And I don't stop having these feelings. You got me saying, oh my God, with all the shit you're feeding me. Every day you make me weak like a heartbeat, but you go too slow. Take it slow like a heartbeat. Take it slow, slow. Take it slow like a heartbeat. Take it slow.
Emmy the Great. So the singer, her name is Emma Lee Moss, thus the name Emmy the Great.
Mm-hmm.
And they're from London. But it says here she was born in Hong Kong. So that's interesting.
Yes, she was born in Hong Kong to an English father and Chinese mother. Interested in music from a young age. If this sounds like I'm reading something, it's just because I'm shy. I really know all this stuff ahead of time.
Right.
Where was I?
Yeah.
She used to go by train to her nearest Tower Records shop, blah, blah, blah. So,
And she's also written for The Guardian and Vice
really?
Media and Noisy. So she's done some apparently music writing, but says that she doesn't plan to be a music journalist. But maybe she already is. She's a
Right.
musician
Wouldn't that
and
be a little bit
music
like us
journalist.
saying, I don't plan on being a podcaster?
Right.
You kind of,
Yeah. You either are or you're not, right?
Right.
Can't deny it. Yeah. So the cool thing about being podcasters is we could have our own band and then we could review ourselves and say how great the album is, right?
Why hadn't we thought about that?
I don't know. We should do that, right?
But we wouldn't tell anybody that it's us.
Right. Yeah. We'd say, you, me, and Chris, we need to record an
Right.
album, right? And we'll just give it some random name, and then we'll talk about it some week.
Right.
We'll say, yeah, we found this band, and it's really great. We don't know much about them.
Yeah, they're very mysterious.
Yeah. And then see what the listeners say. And that would be great to see if we could pull it off so they wouldn't notice that
Right.
it was us. Yeah.
Somebody must have been doing that, as a podcaster, right? You build up trust
Yeah.
over, say, 5 years,
Right.
and then you get a big audience, and then you're like, here we go. And
Yeah.
then everybody's just like,
Yeah.
I got to say, this is the best thing I've heard since we started. Maybe this is the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Right.
And then we're all like, I can't believe it, but I think you're right. And
They-
then we'd get
They probably did that on
famous.
the Arcade Fire podcast, right? They probably pulled a trick
Probably,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah. Yeah. All right, Emmy the Great. That's intriguing sounding, and it's intriguing sounding enough that I'm wondering, do you think track 7 will have those electronic drum bleepy things, or
I'm guessing it's going to
wonder.
be
or will it be a completely different sound? We're about to find out.
right.
The album is called Second Love, and here's track 7, Never Go Home.
When I'm with you, all the walls come down. I look around, I say we'll take this town. Both feet lifted off the ground. Now we're riding with the hood rolled down. And your hands are all covered in dirt, holding on like you can't get hurt. Hurricane came and took you with me. Your eyes are an emerald city. We could never go home. We could never go home. We could never go home if you come with me. You don't have to go home. We could never go home. We could never go home. We could never go home if you come with me. We don't have to go home. From the moment that I saw your face, it's like somebody took the sky away. Now I know what it means to leave. From now on, every night is New Year's Eve. We can never go home. We can never go home. We can never go home if you come with me. You don't have to go home. We can never go home. We can never go home. We can never go home if you come with me. We don't have to go home.
I like that. Only one thing I would do differently, though. I'd put some real drums in there.
That's all. Right. But
Right?
isn't the whole everything about that just begs to have not drums in it. The whole palette is just synthetic. I think the drums maybe would sound weird.
Yeah, that could be too.
I don't like it. I just don't like it. But
I think I like it enough that I would like to hear more. So I'm thinking it reached that point for me.
you've got those like ethereal backing vocals and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, how like when you go to Guitar Center and you like play the super expensive pianos with all the different samples on it and stuff?
Oh, yeah, those things. Yeah.
You can make that on the keyboard, obviously.
Those layered orchestral things.
Right,
sounds,
with
yeah.
like a choral voices and stuff. That's probably what that is, right?
Yeah, probably. But they have a multi-person band, so, it could be made by multiple people.
Yeah,
So-
I doubt it.
I don't know. That's kind of a slam if you compare it to Guitar Center, I think. Now, since we're like on the Guitar Center kick this podcast. All right. Well, I think David kept us going pretty good this week, actually. I mean, with some mixed results, a little more mixed from you, but obviously, like, we didn't glom onto all this stuff like months ago, like David did. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there, right? A lot of music out there.
Yeah.
And
I want to point something out.
Yeah.
How many songs are on this album?
12.
Okay, there you go.
Okay. All right. So that was the first song on side 2. Mm-hmm. But it didn't grab you the way you want the first song on side 2 to grab you.
That's true.
Right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think the most common now, I think like the 10-track album has become pretty standard now. That's what I'm thinking. Just kind of a gut feeling I have.
Yeah, well.
So, but I kind of like 12 to 14 track albums, unless they just are meandering and they're over an hour long or something.
Right. It seems like that was more common several years ago.
Yeah, there aren't as many like that.
You know, you have like an hour and 10-minute album, and it's like,
the Broken Social Scene album. Remember we talked about that?
Yeah.
Said we all thought it was too long. They just played again. I think they were at Pitchfork Festival, weren't they?
I don't know.
I was reading about them playing, and seemed like, I don't know, it seemed like relevant for them to be playing again for some reason. Like, why not? Why not Broken Social Scene, right? So I don't think they had like the famous people, like Nico Case was in that. Was she ever in Broken Social Scene?
No.
Leslie Feist was.
Right.
Remember her? And then she kind of got famous, and then so apparently she's not playing with that band anymore. But I could kind of see them being kind of good. Like, it would be interesting to see them, I think. So, all right, I'm going to just declare greater than $0 worth once again.
I maybe think here. Yes. Wait, what am I? Yeah. Why did I even hesitate?
Yeah.
Way more.
Come on. You can't be hesitating. So, thanks, David, for keeping us rocking for another week. And maybe we'll dip into that Chilean shoegaze and find some other fun stuff for next week, right?
Yeah, always fun stuff.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
always
we'll
good.
get Chris on with his Radiohead.
We should get him on. Yeah, that could take. Chris could just go on and on, right? Maybe he could do a track by track review, right? It's like, okay, they started with this song, and then he could like talk about how that felt, and then go to the next one. You ever see that when people do that for albums? I always think that's kind of like overkill. Like, it doesn't, like, it just seems like a bad way to review an album, right? When they do that,
right? Well, you have to like something, like a crazy amount.
Yeah, I mean, I think people did that with the latest Radiohead album. I think
that's
I saw
that's the
somebody
kind
do
of a
that.
band where people would be tempted to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's stuff.
It's better. Don't read that stuff. Just listen to the podcast, right?
Right.
And then you'll get our very what do I want to say? Vitally intelligent commentary, along with some samples of the music. And then the thing is, you can listen to the music, and then after you hear what we say about it, you can find out whether your reaction was right or wrong to the music, right?
Right. You can do that. Did you get that email from our Melbourne correspondent?
Oh, yeah, we just got one.
He's got a different way that he just discovered of...
That was kind of a
interacting
cool
with the
idea, right?
Podcast, right. You can look and see what the band is that we're going to do, right?
Yeah.
And then it requires you to wait a little bit.
Yeah.
That might be hard.
That could
But
be
you
very
have to
difficult.
wait.
Right.
And you listen to it yourself, and then you see whether how you feel about it was right or wrong.
Exactly. Yeah. So,
It's
yeah,
kinda
you
like
get
a
the
book.
title of the podcast or the description so you know who we talked about. Then listen to it yourself before listening to the podcast. What a novel idea. We never thought of that.
Right.
Only what, 6 years in? We're up to 7 years now, right? In August. Was it August of 2009
Are
is when
you
we started
serious?
the podcast. So we're up to 7 years. Yeah.
No.
That's crazy, right? That's correct. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So it took us 7 years to figure out that method of listening because Nicholas recommended it. So yeah, try that sometime.
You know what we should do sometime is just break with long-standing tradition, announce what we're going to do in like 2 weeks, right?
Yes, right.
Give people a chance to do it, and then maybe they could even send us either emails or even little audio commentary,
Right.
on your,
Oh, my goodness.
do it on your iPhone.
That would be so cool. Yeah,
The
just do it
voice
like
memo.
a voice memo and attach it. That's so easy to do now, right?
Yeah.
It'd be so easy, like probably everybody with their smartphones now. Just do and in fact, just feel free to do that anytime. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like send us audio comments. It would be very fun, right? Because we read, of course, all the emails, but if you send a voice thing, we could play it on the podcast, and it would be fun.
Yeah, that would be
Right.
great.
So when is that Wilco album called Schmilko or something like that? When's that coming out?
I think it's in September.
So probably
do that?
we'll probably talk about that, right?
Yeah.
Wilco's playing here too, and you and I both had the same reaction, which was like, we've seen them like 3 times in the last 4 years, and we're not sure if we want to see them yet again. But it's in that outdoor venue, and it seems like it might be worth. Plus, Kurt Weill is playing with him.
Right. The outdoor venue and the Kurt file are what's probably going to bring me there.
Yeah, I think maybe we should.
Yeah.
I'm leaning toward going.
I mean, what if they're playing at the Orpheum?
Yeah,
I just wouldn't want to go. I've seen them enough.
yeah.
Right.
So yeah, we might go see that. In which case, we will be able to do a live report, right?
But yeah, I know there's somebody out there that's like, oh, maybe I'll record one of those things and send it. Oh, I don't know if I have anything good to say. Do it anyway. Of course
Yeah.
you don't have anything good to say.
Yeah.
Otherwise you'd have your own show.
Exactly. Good point.
But send it anyway.
right.
So it'll be kind of like almost
Yeah.
like you're a podcaster. And
And then you can play it for your friends. You can say, hey,
Right.
I was on the Will's Band of the Week podcast. Only listen from the 3:45 to 4:20 mark, and then just turn it off. People can do that.
Yeah,
right?
you could do that. It would still, if they were on YouTube, they would still count as a view.
Right. Yeah,
Doesn't do fractions.
exactly. There should be like an asterisk after the views. Like,
Yeah.
no, one of these people only listened for 10 seconds,
Right.
and they heard our voice, and then they said, forget that. Right?
Right. Yeah.
All right. Let's sign off, man. We are just going on and on. We'll talk to you again next week with another edition of Will's Band of the Week. Good night.
Good night.
You can subscribe to the Will's Band of the Week podcast using iTunes or any other podcast app. All of our podcasts are also available directly on our webpage, willsband.net. You can contact us directly by email to willsband@yahoo.com, on our Facebook page, or on Twitter @willsband. The Will's Band of the Week podcast is brought to you every week from Fourth Bedroom Studios in Madison, Wisconsin. Our theme music was composed by Grant and performed by Grant and Will. Thanks for listening.